Hey, good evening, everyone. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur, and you're tuned into IFYL Inspirations for Your Life. I'm glad that you popped in. If you're new here and you're watching us, grab your smartphone, launch the camera app, point over the QR code like so, touch the yellow ellipse. You'll get my link tree. If you are not watching us, but you're listening to us only, like on a podcast audio version, well, then go to believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, fantastic, inspiring creations. Whether you're listening or watching us tonight at 10 p.m., 10 a.m., 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 4 a.m., or whatever time you choose, I'm very grateful that you've made the choice to bring inspirations for your life to be part of your daily motivational diet. So let's get right into this. We start on a Saturday, we roll all the way through the week, and we finish up on a Friday. So welcome, friends. Let's get into it. How and why to unify. Series 2 means we're in the second year, show 34, episode number 4, everyone. So we're talking about unify and unification, all this great stuff. So when we think about unification, there was a gentleman on last night, and he was asking me, well, how do we know that this is even happening? But before I go into that, I want to answer the question of how do I know if somebody wants to unify with me? I think the best way is that when you approach it and either you start to, let's say, let a vulnerability slip on purpose, or you, let's say, show an act of kindness, and they either don't, if they return the favor or they show interest, then they probably want to bond with you. They probably want to unify with you. If they just, play it off like it's no big deal, like, you're just nobody, then I'm sorry to say that they probably have no interest in you. Now, don't make the mistake that if somebody doesn't give you, the pat on the back right away, they have no interest in unifying with you. No, I mean that if you're with them and you're sharing a story and they're just like, I don't know, playing on their phone like this, they're taking their phone and they're doing one of these jobs on it. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. That's rude. I had somebody on the phone the other day, and it was a call center. And I always try to be very polite with these people. But this one lady, she was on the phone. She says, uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And I said, excuse me, ma'am. I said, in the United States, I said, it's actually considered rude. I'm not sure what it is in your country, but in the United States, when we uh-huh and somebody on the phone, that's a very disrespectful thing that you can do. It shows you have no respect for the person on the phone. Then I politely asked to speak to a supervisor. I think when we think about unification, sometimes we get a little bit overzealous, expecting it to happen like all right away. But maybe it's not meant to happen right away. Maybe it's meant to be a gradual process. That's all. When something is gradual, it tends to have more of an impact in our life, tends to be more memorable, and also tends to be something that is going to be, let's say, beneficial for us and others. So, thinking about the concept of unifying, how do we know? Well, we're hanging out with a friend of ours or a buddy from school, and maybe we're lab partners, and maybe we say something like, "Hey, Joe, listen, they're opening this new ice cream place by my house, right around the corner from me." Oh yeah, and he might say, "Well, that's nice." So, well, do you want to? Maybe we can go and we can get some ice cream together. Nah, that's okay. I'm kind of busy. I got homework and I got stuff to do. So that's a direct indication that they have no interest in wanting to spend any more time with you than they have to, which is for their schoolwork. So they're being with you and being cordial with you because you are their lab partner. You heard me say that right. Their lab partner. And if they're your lab partner, they also might feel that you're going to do all the work for them because a lot of these labs, that you both get the same grade. So if I don't put any effort in, and let's say you put no effort in and I put all the effort in, gonna get an A. If I put no effort in and you put no effort in, well, we're probably gonna get a D or an F. So I know I don't want that on my record. And you're probably thinking, well, John definitely always gets good grades, so I'll just like cruise and let him do that, and I'll just do the minimum and just make it like I don't know what I'm doing. So you know that they don't want to unify with you because the minute that class is over, it's like they suddenly have another agenda. They suddenly want to block you out. They suddenly want to go to their friend or friends, and maybe they forgot something like, what was the homework assignment? So they quick run back. Hey, John, listen, my friends, we were just going out to play football, but listen, what was the chapter that we had to read tonight for the quiz tomorrow? Chapter 16, mitosis, cell mitosis. Oh, yeah. And what was that about again? Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll read it. And we could probably talk before class, right? Yeah, but you need to read it because you won't pass if you don't read it. Oh, okay. So thank you, Daniel, for the like. Really do appreciate that. And so I think people have this misconception that everyone owes them something. They don't. So get over that right now. They don't. I know I've had lab partners in, I've had them in high school and I've had them in college. And I know when I had them in high school, nobody wanted to do the work except for me. But my teacher, who was actually a doctor, came over and she said, John, she's like, you're doing all the work. So we're all kind of working. She's like, well, what did Brendan do? And what did Mark do? Oh, well, we're supervising. Yeah, well, she's like, I better see some more work than supervising tomorrow, or you guys are going to go home with a D and John's going to get an A. Well, I thought it was a combined project where we all get, yeah, it normally is, but that's when everyone participates. And I've been watching you guys, and you're not participating. You're just kind of like sitting here, just doing nothing. Maybe you've opened a package, or maybe you opened the textbook up. Big deal. I remember getting to college, and I had a lab partner, and my lab partner I knew didn't care about me. My lab partner cared about me as much as I could understand so I could help him understand better and be a reinforcement. That's all he cared about. He didn't care about how well I was going to do, but he knew that or that I knew it well, I could bounce back and he could then, get comfortable and know that he would do well on the test. The thing that was very interesting is that, we would go to the library. And we would usually meet in our groups, like whether I was in biology in college, or whether it was English class, or whether it was uh, let's say psychology, or a variety of other subjects, calculus, differential equations, whatever it was. And so this one kid, I'm not going to mention his name, but this one kid, he was a little bit taller than me. And he had this arrogant attitude. You've heard me say this before. And so I said to him one night, you want to grab a slice of pizza and, we're going to meet in the library. Yeah, well, I'm going to get some at home. I'll just meet at the library. What time are you going to be at the library? I don't know. We usually get a slice of pizza and we go over. Well, text me when you're done with pizza, and then I'll just meet at the library. So he had no interest in bonding with me or the group. He was just there for his own selfish reasons, which was to get a good grade. We quickly learned his kind and what he was doing. And the next time we had to get together to study, we didn't ask him. Oh, you guys study this weekend? Yeah, we did. But, we were hanging out. It was a last minute thing. They came over, we had pizza, and then we decided to study. Well, why didn't you text me? Oh, it was late at night. And, we were just kind of tired, and we just did it in the dorm. And, oh. And so we started having more of these sessions that were in our dorm, because this one kid, he lived on campus, and he lived a few dorms down. I think he lived in what we called the quads. And so his big thing was the fraternity and his drinking parties and stuff like that. So he really didn't care too much about us. So we really didn't want to bother him, and we had a great night. And whenever we did uh, bring him into something like that, especially on a weekend, he was usually so drunk that he was just not good for studying with. And he would always make fun of us that we're nerds. And like, yeah, we are, and we're proud of it. But it was funny. He wanted to be the nerd when he wanted to get the good grade. But when other people around him, his frat buddies, his girlfriend and stuff, it's like, oh, I don't study like that. I'm not a studyaholic like John and Mike and Chris and all those other crazy people. Like I have a life. Yeah, you have a life. And we're the ones getting the A on the test, and looks like you'll be getting a B. Yeah, well, B is fine. Yeah, I guess for some people. But our team's motivated and we want A's. And I remember very strongly that I wanted to bond with this one kid, figuring that it might help us with our studies and stuff. So I said to him, "Hey, listen, I took racquetball this semester." He's like, "Oh, you took that bird brain class?" I said, "Well, I played racquetball before. I figured it'd be fun." He's like, "Yeah, I probably should take that too for 1 credit. Probably be worth the time. What time are you taking it?" Taking it at 10 o'clock on this day. Yeah, I'll probably take the class with you because I need an easy class. So he takes the class, and he's so arrogant when he gets in class. And so the instructor pairs us up with different people, but then unfortunately I get paired with him. And I never been petrified playing racquetball with anybody, but he did something very interesting. He slammed that ball so very hard on the glass that it wasn't even funny. And that was something that I thought was wrong. And the first time he did that, I'll call him Mark, but that's not his name. Mark, like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just, that's not how we play racquetball. Do you want to play racquetball, or do you just want to be a jerk? Because if you want to be a jerk, then I'm going to leave and you can find someone else to play with because I want to play racquetball. He's like, "Oh, don't get so upset. Don't cry." I said, "I'm not going to cry." I said, "I'm just not going to play racquetball with you anymore." And he started to realize that he was wrong and I was right. And then he wanted to connect with me strictly to play racquetball and hoping that racquetball would bring us closer for our studies. But I knew what he was doing, and he didn't care about anything outside of racquetball and our studies. Thus, he didn't really want to be my friend. He didn't want to bond with me. And he didn't ever want to go to lunch or dinner or even hang out or do anything with me. One time we were doing something, they had an ice cream social. I said, "Hey, do you want to join me?" He's like, "Oh, I'm really busy. I'm going with my frat buddies." "Oh, okay, no problem." And so that's an example of when people don't want to bond, right? Pretty easy, but they were doing it for the wrong reasons. So signs people want to unify with you means that they have an interest. They might make the suggestion like, "Yeah, let's go grab ice cream. That sounds really cool. I've been dying to check that place out." Check their body language. Pay attention to their tonality, not just what they say, but how they say it, their emotions, their inflection points, right? And so that's a pretty cool thing. And then the last one I'm going to talk to you about is signs that were already unified. And so signs that were already unified is an interesting one. That basically means that we're already connected. And I know I've been with my groups before, and I remember, let's call him this kid Mark, went in and we're studying with these other buddies. He's like, he goes, "Why the heck are you studying with them?" I said, "Well, for one thing, I was like, they actually want to hang out with me when we finish studying, and we hang out and we have fun. And they're not just here to pick my brain so they can get a good grade. Like they actually want to be a friend of mine." Oh, he's like, "I don't have time for that. That's too overrated for me." And so I didn't lose sleep over that, but I quickly learned in my senior year that this one guy, had no interest in me at all. And anytime he came around, I'm like, I know you don't have an interest to hang with me. I know you're just here to get a good grade. So ask me what you want, and I'll tell you whether I'm going to help you or not. I may not, but just ask me what you're looking for and stop trying to beat around the bush and tell me you're not, you just want to hang with me because I know you don't. So you got to not be afraid to call people on the carpet. That's a big one, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be afraid to call people on the carpet. And when you do that, people will be very, very surprised at you. It's like, oh, wow, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe, I can't believe. And like I said to you, we had a couple other study sessions, and it was right around midterm time, maybe a week or two before. And usually we would invite everyone to class, but we'd invite Mark. The reason is he always would throw his high grade in our face. And he always believed he was better than everybody. And he always, let's say, kissed butt to the doctor and the professor. But he was the first to chastise anyone that was getting any bit friendly with the professor. Like, I'm a good morning, professor, a good morning, doctor. And he'd be like, so kissing up a little bit much, aren't you? He said, excuse me? I said, she's like, good morning. Well, okay. And he's like, if you want to stick your nose that way, that's fine. He's like, but I'm not doing it. And then later on, he's like, oh yes, Miss Professor. Oh yes, I would do that by the square root of this, and I would use this function to this. And I would. Did you study? Yes, I did. I studied a lot. And it was like this. And then he sat in his seat, like very, like, conceited, like, I'm one upping you. But really, what he was doing is he was lowering himself. And at the end of that grade, that class, which was my senior class, I wound up getting an A minus, and he wound up getting a B plus. And the reason I got an A minus was because my project went over the budget. I could only spend $100, and I had to spend a little bit more. And one of my so-called friends ratted me out and said, "Oh, I know where John got that thing, and that kit was like $180. It was like, instead of being $100, it might be like $120. It was shipping, so it was like, but they told them the site I went to and how I got it and all this stuff, and they said, well, it's a great project, but because you went over the budget, you can't get an A plus." But my other so-called friend or acquaintance in the class was just there to be like an opportunist. And after I started noticing this, I had no desire to want to hang around with him. I think it was after my junior class with him. And I'm like, oh no, another class with him again. And he came in, sometimes he was coming like not late, but like right at the bell. And it'd be like, let's say it was supposed to get there at like, I don't know, let's say class started at 3 o'clock and it was a 90-minute class or whatever. Well, he'd get in there right at 2:59. And he'll say, it's like, Mister, we're late, aren't we? No, professor, I'm just coming back in. I just was finishing up some dinner. This class is a 3.5, like a 90-minute class. And I wanted to make sure I was bright and alert and I was able to capture all this wonderful knowledge you gave me. He goes, okay. And let's turn in our books to chapter. Instead of doing that, let's have a quiz. Take a piece of paper out, label it from 1 to 15 on one side and 16 to 30 on the other, and put your name on the top, class, section number, and we'll begin. I'd like you to tell me, who was the inventor of COBOL? Number 2, I'd like you to tell me, what do we call the process that takes a program and puts it into a final exe? What do we call that process? And it was a little bit of a trick question, so I put down on my compile. I'm pretty sure compile. Then he asked a question. He's like, now what do we call the process whereby we take our readable code that we've typed and we actually have that connect with the libraries before we're able to compile it. I'm like, oh, linking. What is the name of the file that results after we perform this process? What are the three letters in the extension? Oh, OBJ, objective, OBJ file, right? And so this might sound a little crazy, but it was kind of interesting, right? And so an OBJ file is a file in programming. Okay. It's called an object file in C. An object file is a computer file containing the object code that is machine code, and the output of that um, then goes to the next step, which is where we first would do the first step where we would link it, check the dependencies, then we would go and run the compile, which would then add the assembly code and turn it into a file that we could run. And so, what I want to share with you is that most people would have gotten bent out of shape that this one kid had no interest, and I didn't care. But one thing I realized from day one is that I'm not going to let him upset me, and I'm also not going to let him take advantage of me. Now, we had cell phones, and I remember that, or I should say, no, we didn't really. I had a cell phone. He didn't have one yet. My cell phone in college was about the cell phone was like a $4,000 or $5,000 cell phone. It was because they really weren't popular back then. And so, he's one of these people that if I say, give me a call later and we'll go over this, well, he'll call me if there's nothing else better for him to do. If his girlfriend wasn't busy, if he wasn't hanging out with other friends, if he didn't have a movie to go see, then he would call me and say, "Oh, John, you want to study?" And I was like, "So, Mark, I guess everyone else turned you down, or they got other plans. So I guess you want to spend time with me since you have nothing to do." He goes, "Something like that." Yeah, I said, "It's funny how you always come around whenever you need something. But anytime I come around and I need help, you always tell me you're busy and you'll get back to me." So that helped me understand unification. And I unified with a lot of people in college. Some people I unified to help them, other people I unified with so that we could help each other. But he had this very unique personality that didn't care about you. If I was doing something, or let's say I won an election, which I did, he was like, "Yeah, well, that's so what." Or I remember one time I was in class and they were running this thing called a fake jail. So my computer class was in the afternoon. And I said to one of my buddies, I said, "If you're going to do something," I said, "do it during my computer class." I said, "Because that's just, that'd be a great time to do it." And I know they have a test. So anyway, I think it was about 3:15. He hadn't even passed out the test yet, the exam. He was going over the review for it. And he comes into the room, the two people from student association. They were dressed up as like these fake policemen. He goes, "Mr. Such and such." He said, "Yes, professor." So I hate to disturb you. We need to see Mr. Morley. We'll take a minute. Well, unfortunately, he's actually under arrest. What? Yeah, he's under arrest for not being able to raise sufficient amounts of money to propel the program council budget this year. And we've set $150,000 bail on him. And he's like, "What the heck is this nonsense?" He's like, "Well," he's like, "we have to take him away." And I was like, "I guess I got to go." He's like, "Hang on a minute." So he picks up the phone and he calls the dean. He goes, "What the blank?" And he said some other words. "Is going on here? What do you mean these people are coming here? First one today, and now I'm told they can come anytime they want this week, and they're saying they're arresting Mr. Morley to be taken to jail." on premise somewhere, and he's got a bail set him. He's like, that's right. During my class, that's right. And there's nothing I could do about it. Well, we have a test today. Well, that's unfortunate, but this is for a charity. And I guess you'll just have to create another test for him and whoever else misses. He hangs the phone up. He's like, get out of my class. Just get out of my class. And this other guy who was there, he was giving me all kinds of like funny looks. And he comes by the jail and sees me in there and making phone calls. And within an hour or two, I think I raised $50,000. I was calling friends, family, etc. And you were raising real money. And so he comes by. He goes, "What kind of crock is that?" I said, "This is, they arrested me." He's like, we had the test. The test was hard. Okay. I think it did. He's like, I passed. Okay. He's like, and don't ask me for my help because I'm not helping you. I said, it's always great to know you have a friend that really is there for you. He just walked away. Some people are just that up in themselves that they don't even want to see you get ahead one little tiny bit. Well, hey guys, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege, a pleasure, and honor to be with you this fantastic evening. I hope you will like, love, support the channel. Comment below, tag your friends, colleagues, and associates. Share this out with everyone you know on social media. Go to believemeachieve.com, and of course, click on the link, help keep our comment free. Click on that PayPal link, buy my team a cup of coffee, a bowl of fruit, or a savory dessert plate. Either way, we're going to be grateful. Those pennies and dollars will invest into new hardware, new technology, new equipment, new software, even new facilities to give you the most jaw-dropping, inspired content to get you to take the action you've always been wanting. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, unification is a choice, and you don't just do it in 5 seconds. We covered today signs people want to unify with you, signs people don't want to unify with you, and signs you're already unified. Another thing I'm going to share with you, if you ask somebody something like, maybe they went out for the weekend. And let's say I ask Mark, "Hey, Mark, how was your weekend?" "Busy." Or I might say, "Hey, Mark, what did you do this weekend?" "I went out." And so I came back to him and his other friend sitting behind him. And I said, "No, Mark, like, what did you actually do? Did you go to a movie?" "I went somewhere." And I didn't say anything. I was just like, "Okay, so you want to be a jerk? Fine." That night, we were getting ready to study. But because he couldn't be decent with me, myself and the rest of the team said, let's not invite him. See, everybody in our group was there to help each other become better. Not Mark, this guy's name I'm making up. He was there to basically replace you and become better than you. He didn't want to support community growth, unfortunately. So definitely watch this video and many others. Definitely check out my show on KCAA Radio, which will be on if you guys have not caught it yet. It's on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's also on Fridays at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Again, give that a listen. Let me know what you're thinking about, and definitely check out my new article. You are going to love it. The new article I just published this week, ladies and gentlemen, you've definitely got to read it. The article's title is the following: 4 basic functionalities of AI. And a 5th one that most people don't really want to talk about yet. All right. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and I will see you guys really, really soon. Hey, Ken, it's great to see you here. As I'm just about to say goodbye, John Morley, keep on serving your delectable nuggets of inspiration, motivation, guidance, encouragement, enthusiasm, appreciation, and gratitude, sir. Well, it is my privilege. It is my pleasure. It's always wonderful to share this, and always great to have you chime in and give me great feedback. Nice to have you as a longtime supporter here. So definitely, ladies and gentlemen, check out all my other great content at believemeachieve.com. And I'm going to catch you guys, when? Tomorrow. So have a great one, everyone. Be well.